He clings to a blade of seagrass as the tide pulls first one way, then the other. The swell makes him rock, a slow pendulum with a swollen belly that isn't fat but future. Muscle tremors ripple along his flank. Gills flare, counting the seconds that oxygen must keep flowing to the life he carries. Shadows move at the edge, hunters, rivals, and chance. He cannot sprint. He cannot wander far. Every breath calculates risk. Every sway balances salt and water and time. This is evolution, choosing ballast over speed. This is evolution, when fathers carry pregnancies, written on living skin. Hippocampus erectus, the lined seahorse, lives where grasslands meet the sea, subtropical estuaries, mangroves, pier pilings, and high meadows of zostera. A prehensile tail anchors it to stems. A long snout vacuums copepods and shrimps with a flash that feels like a blink. Adults stand between 11 and 18 centimeters, 4 to 7 inches. They patrol small home ranges and trust camouflage more than flight. Courtship is a choreography of color shifts and synchronized rises. Pairs often reunite daily, and in many populations remain socially monogamous for a season. Here, the headline behavior is not a metaphor, but an anatomy. Evolution, when fathers carry pregnancies. Females transfer eggs. Males seal them inside a ventral pouch that behaves less like a pocket and more like an incubator. Inside that pouch, walls thicken with blood vessels. Sodium and potassium shift, pH is regulated, and embryos receive oxygen through a capillary network that functions as a placenta analog. A typical lined seahorse brood ranges from a few dozen to several hundred young, and gestation often lasts about 2 to 3 weeks, modulated by temperature and salinity. Through this period, the brooding male eats, breathes, and hides with extra mass. Studies indicate his metabolic rate climbs during mid-gestation, and swimming turns from casual to consequential. When labor begins, contractions surge like tiny storms. Fry shoot into the water column, already able to grasp and feed. Now the paradox lands hard, stated cleanly. How can male gestation evolve when it reduces mating opportunities and imposes high metabolic costs? The question cuts through the quiet like a propeller. He carried offspring instead of courting. He absorbed risk instead of spreading attempts. The arithmetic of mating says more partners, more offspring. Yet the pouch has held him in place. One hypothesis argues that the pouch transforms raw numbers into survival. Free eggs and early larvae vanish in open water. Mortality in the plankton is brutal and untraceable. By incubating embryos inside a regulated chamber, the father upgrades each offspring's odds. He does more than shelter. Evidence suggests he mediates salt balance, oxygen supply, and even immune protection. If survival per juvenile rises enough, the return on investment may outweigh fewer mating events. It is not more, but more that live. A form of parental care that converts quantity into quality. A second possibility centers on time budgets and pair bonds. In habitats where adults are sparse and movement is slow, finding a new partner can consume days, not minutes. Many lined seahorses meet the same partner at dawn, reinforcing a bond through ritual. While the male broods, the female's ovaries replenish. By the time he gives birth, she is ready with another clutch, Their cycles synchronize. His pouch empties as her eggs mature. Studies indicate this relay can compress the interval between broods, shaving away the downtime that normally taxes reproduction. Under these conditions, the cost in lost mating opportunities is smaller than it looks, because opportunities themselves are rare. What seems like an impossible-to-explain reversal becomes a practical schedule. A third view frames the pouch as an ecological adaptation to unstable estuaries. Salinity can swing after storms. Temperature can spike across a tidal flat. The pouch buffers embryos against these jolts, holding them at a developmentally safer set point. Scientists still debate the magnitude of this buffering and how universal it is across seahorse species, but in variable shallows, the difference between a pulse of fresh water and a mass die-off can be one gestation away. The trade-off is obvious: a conspicuous, slower father who must hitch and hide, paying with oxygen and posture for each day he incubates. None of these explanations stands alone. The arithmetic of survival gains, the calendar of synchronized reproduction, and the cradle against environmental swings likely interact. In some places, monogamy dominates and reduces search time. In others, density rises and pair bonds loosen. Even then, physiology may still favor the pouch. Capillaries, hormone signals, and ion pumps do not retool overnight. Evolution trims, tunes, and sometimes locks in an adaptation that began as advantage and became architecture. It is the same story told three ways. Parental care scales up from behavior to organ, from habit to inheritance, rewriting what we thought we knew about which sex limits reproduction. At night, the grassland breathes out its small hunters. The father releases the last fry in a burst and looks, for the first time in weeks, less heavy. Morning will deliver the familiar dance. If the pair reunites, eggs will slide again into the pouch before predators or chance rearrange the map. The mystery remains, edged with humility. The costs are visible. The benefits are measured in survivors that drift beyond the frame. Nobody knows why one lineage stepped across this threshold, while so many others did not. But the result is indelible. Evolution, when fathers carry pregnancies, is not a slogan. It is a ledger balanced in tides and blood, a question the animal answers with its body, while the rest of the ocean moves on.